Welcome to the Big Idea podcast, where we focus on food. Today we're going to be talking to Harmony Baby, an American company focused on developing baby formula based on human breast milk. The founder, Wendell, will be on our conversation today. I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions or comments, please do reach out via the normal ways. Thanks very much. Let's get on with it. Still thinking about it. Okay. Welcome to the Big Idea podcast, where we focus on food. Today we're going to be talking to Wendell de Oliveira Alfonso from Harmony Baby and Carter Heck from Harmony Baby. Did I get all that right? Did I get the names? It's good?
Okay, great.
Amazing. So Harmony Baby, a company we've loved and followed and even invested in for some time ago. You guys are doing incredible things. I think it's really important that people know about you. Why don't you tell me about Harmony Baby?
Yes. Well, Harmony Baby is actually a piece of a long story with babies and baby nutrition, actually. So let me start like in a personal level, right? I'm, a dad of 3 kids, and actually my second baby is 2 months old only. So many stories of babies and baby nutrition. Yeah, it's like we got hands full right at this point.
You're still
right?
Smiling.
But you see the bags in here. There is a reason for that, But yes, I did start actually, Andrew, my career as a researcher doing food science and technology, right. And I totally got hooked with like the baby nutrition piece of that. So in total, probably heading to like towards almost 20 years doing baby nutrition, anything from lab to market. Lab scale it up, grants and funds and regulatory clinical trials, all kinds of baby formulas, things for, formulas for healthy, typical babies, all the way to products for babies with some genetic disease, PKU and MASUD, lots of cow's milk allergic babies, many stories of baby nutrition. That's sort of like long time passion for that. Yeah. But on Harmony, as you asked me, Harmony is a totally different way of doing baby formulas, right? We pretty much, we replace cow's milk for the core components of human breast milk. And we made formulas out of that. We made formulas that are really close to breast milk. Of course, you're not replacing breastfeeding. That's way more close to breast milk, and that's like the gold standard. That's what we're doing here so far, and now we have technology for it, right? We definitely can really have products that doesn't really rely on animal proteins, cow's milk, and have something that's way more tailored to human beings. That's sort of like the major concept behind Harmony.
So that's interesting. So in the past we've had, if I remember this correctly, from when my daughter was, 6 months old, 3 months old, we've had 2 choices, right? Breast milk or formula. And typically, if I remember correctly, the formula are animal based, so cow or related, right? Why would somebody not be comfortable with a cow milk based formula? If they needed to go in that direction or wanted to go in that direction, why is there the need for something new?
I think I do address this question a different way. My question is more, why would you be comfortable with that? And watch this, right? Sometimes we don't think about it, but if you think about milk as the only source of nutrition of a mammal, milk is species specific. So each mammal does have their milk and their specific baby for it. We are the only species that using someone else's milk to feed our babies. And that's like, we sometimes just don't think about it. On a baby formula is actually a cow's milk powder. It's on a baby formula, you have like over 95% of a baby formula. It's pretty much cow powder, blended it all. We like to say, Andrew, that, I know cow's milk is naturally designed for cows, not for human beings. cow's milk composition is quite different than human breast milk composition. There is lots of proteins in cow's milk that you don't find on human milk. And it's interesting on this because our CSO, right, Neil, he likes to use this metaphor. Say, listen, if you have a food, there's a kind of delicious food, right? Everyone loves that. But every time that you have the food, 1 out of 5 people will get sick. Would you try it? No, you would not try that. Of course not. But why is fine for babies? So, because that's the rate. Now, 1 out of 5 babies on regular cow's milk formulas get sick. So why is fine for babies? That's a sort of like the mind-blowing thing we have now. Why are we still using cow's milk? Cow's digestive system got 4 stomachs. It's really different than human digestive system. That's why cow's milk is so different than human milk. That's like to answer your question, I think I do have an opposite question. Say, why we think that's natural? Why we still think that's normal? Because it's not. And that really explains this massive number of, babies with problems. We have 24 million of formula allergic babies all over the world per year. It's crazy. It's a lot. Once again, just picture this. If you want to get your baby in a cow's milk formula, you get a chance of 1 out of 5 that your baby will get sick. And that's what happens with our family, right? My second baby is a cow's milk allergic baby, and that's one of the reasons I got on Harmony. Because dealing with, babies and allergic babies on a professional level, it's something. But when you face that on a personal level, oh, that's a totally different game, man. You probably know that.
So 20% of regular cow's milk-based formula is being reacted against by babies. 20% of the babies are getting ill or sick or getting some kind of negative reaction to traditional cow-based formulas. Yeah. And when I say traditional cow-based formulas, to be clear, most of the formula out there today is cow-based formula, right?
Oh, yeah. Almost 100% of those. What is not cow's milk-based now, we have a very small fraction that's kind of plant-based. But, lots of, reactions you have with like cow's milk proteins, you do have with soy, for example, there's lots of like cross reactions. So a small fraction is plant-based. And what is not plant-based, we call like hypoallergenic formulas. It's cow's milk hydrolyzed based proteins or amino acids. But watch this. Cow's milk hydrolyzed protein based formulas and amino acid based formulas, it smells and tastes really gross. It really bitter taste and smells like bad egg. Just to give an example, and also cause vomiting and diarrheas, and super expensive. So what is not cow's milk based? It's plant based, small fraction, or this hypoallergenic special kind of formulas that hydrolyze and amino acid based.
I was thinking about it as you were saying. Completely different. A cow is a completely different animal, has a completely different digestive system. 4 stomachs versus our 1 stomach. It's like saying you could almost say to a parent, would you want to feed your baby the milk from an elephant or the milk from, pick random mammal, right? The answer is generally heck no. But because cows are sort of have been closer to us in terms of, part of our food system for so long, it feels more normal, even though it categorically isn't, right?
Yeah, and I think that we've got to be fair, all right? We have the baby formula industry. It's about over 100 years old kind of industry, right? Back then, if you have no option, right, go for it. So it was having the cow's milk powder to kind of mix it with vitamins and minerals, trying to make this more close to breast milk. It was a good solution back maybe 100 years ago, 50 years ago, that you got no other option. But now, tell me, the technology is here. The technology is really mature. We're talking about a technology. That's not something we're trying. We're talking about a technology that got over 30 years of, strong track records and safety data from the pharmaceuticals. That's the same thing we're using in the food space. So the technology we have, like the fermentation technology we're using inside Harmony, is not really a new technology. It's new in the food space, right? It's really new in the food space. But that's why it also creates another level, say, for parents. Say, listen, it truly makes sense. It truly makes sense on the technical side. It truly makes sense on like an environmental side of things. It truly makes sense on the human side of things, right? If we have a product that's using like the actual human breast milk components, is using like other mammals components, it sounds like obvious, right? When we just kind of, oh, that's sort of like a mind-blowing thought when we do understand that we give, as you say, you can get like, monkey's milk, right? Would you like to get like monkey's milk to a baby? Because monkeys are sort of like genetic codes more close to the human beings? Of course not. It doesn't really ring a bell.
So unfortunately, you keep coming in and out. So I'm hoping when we actually go and create the video, we get everything. On about 3 or 4 occasions, I think we've had you freeze for about 20 seconds. So hopefully that's not too challenging.
Really? Oh, you guys are good for me though.
Yeah, I think it was like an internet thing on your side. Carter, did you experience it as well?
Yeah, he cut out a little bit for me. To summarize what he was saying there in that past story, essentially, like 150 years ago when formula was first being made, cow's milk wasn't necessarily a great option, but it was the best option that was available. So sure. As El said, go for it. And there have been minor improvements over the years to try to bring it closer to breast milk. But even now, the formulas that we see today, the standard cow's milk formulas, 95% of their nutrition still comes from cow's milk. But we have the technology today to make a breast milk component-based formula, which is what Harmony is doing, so that like we no longer have to depend on this option it's not great, but it's the best that's there. That's not true anymore. What's true is we have a formula that's based off of not another species milk, but the components of our own human breast milk to feed to our babies. So getting much, much closer to nature's golden standard, which is breast milk, something that's much more natural for them to consume. And a secondary option to breastfeeding that you can actually call a good option, rather than just the best of what's available at the time,
Got it. So sorry, go ahead, Wendell.
Just a quick comment on that, Andrew, is that I just want to stress the point that even with like, fermentation technology, cell-based technology, none of us are kind of really replacing breastfeeding, because breastfeeding goes beyond nutrition. There is like the intimacy between the mom and the baby, the bonding piece. There's lots of reasons why you go for that. That goes beyond the nutrition piece. But and also another thing that's interesting when it comes to like babies and baby nutrition and breast milk is so complex because it also changes over time. So breast milk is very different from the get-go to the product that your baby is going to be having like over a couple of months. So for colostrum, transitional, and mature milk, it changes a lot. Because of course the baby is growing. But another thing that's quite interesting. On the U.S. market, actually, most of the countries around the world, a baby formula, technically speaking, is the only source of nutrition for a baby between 0 to 12. So how could we have a single product for a baby with like few weeks and a baby with 12 months? It's a totally different baby. So how could we do it? So the big players, what they do, they kind of overdose all the components you need for that, that product that's a baby formula to make sure that you have, enough vitamins and minerals and everything. So there is a major difference between what we have so far for like baby nutrition and what's like the nature, the breast milk as naturally produced by humans. There's a major gap between those.
I'm hoping that in the traditional cow-based baby formula, they have a newborn formula that is 0 to 3 months, a more developed formula for babies that's 3 months to 6 months, and another formula that's from 6 months to 12 months, to take into consideration the fact that babies who are absolutely newborn are very, very transformationally different than a baby that's 11 months old. I hope they do that. Do they not do that?
I never saw that. And let me tell you why technically it's very hard to do. Okay. You know what's crazy and what's unbelievable hard? Because the major component of a baby formula, it's cow's milk. And cow's milk powder it's a standard product. It does have sort of like the same composition. It doesn't fluctuate over time. So if you're using that one as your major ingredient, it's really hard to mimic this, as you're saying. You can try, you can use like different proteins, but I don't know any product, as you described, or any company doing something like this. However, with these new kind of technologies as we do have in Harmony, you can actually pick and choose what you're looking for. And then you can have products customized by the age of the baby, what's way more natural and pretty much impossible to do using cow's milk as the main ingredient that you have at this point. So that's sort of like the revolution behind this baby nutrition thing with new technologies.
I get it. So the gold standard, as we've said many, many times today, is human breast milk from the mother. Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
That's the kind of gold standard. In the old days, 100 years ago, if there was a need for a formula that was non-mother based, the best at the time was a cow-based formula, a powdered, dry cow-based formula. And what we're saying now is that was all very well 100 years ago, 50 years ago. Now we have the capability of being able to create a baby formula that's based on the mother's milk, not based on the cow's milk, correct?
That's 100%. Just to give a reference point, right? Even the very first basic versions of Harmony, we can get as close as 64% bioidentical to breast milk. Even the very first basic versions we have. So it's significant different. If you check like across the industry, we're talking about 1%, 3%, 5% similarity. And that's where we are when it comes to this kind of stuff. Yeah.
So the traditional products, traditional formulas are somewhere between 1% and 5% identical to a mother's milk. And you guys have the capability, even in your most basic early stage products, to get to 60, around the 60%, maybe more even percentage of mother's milks. Is that correct?
Correct. 100% correct. Because when we go for this, we mimic this major components on breast milk to be like the structure, right? We like to say that's the backbone of the products, and that's sort of like the good approximation of that. Yeah. And
the key difference is these traditional products, they're using cow's milk as a base and then adding little bits and pieces in there to try to make it more similar to breast milk. Whereas with Harmony, we use the breast milk components that we're producing as the base. No need for the cow's milk, no need to depend on other sources for the nutritional backbone, as Del said. So that's where we see like the big difference, the big jump in percentage of bioidentical components within Harmony compared to the traditional formulas. Is the backbone is human rather than from cow's milk.
Yeah, I'd like to in a minute get into how you guys do what you do. Although if I was a parent, I'm not sure that, if it's a difference between giving my baby something that's 1%, 2%, 3% of what the baby should be getting versus 60+% of what the baby should be getting, I'm not sure I care. But I guess the question is, what does it mean for the baby? What does it mean for the baby to be able to get something that's, much, much closer to what they should be getting from the mother versus the cow's milk? Does it actually, at the end of the day, not make a big difference to the baby, or is there, development benefits or other things that kind of they miss out on, or they get now with Harmony that they don't get with the previous approach?
I think, Andrew, there's like lots of studies and reports and World Health Organization standards about what you miss out when you opt for formula feeding compared with like breast milk, compared nursing a baby. That's like many things. I think what we're trying to do is really reduce the gap. That's the way we see it. Another feature that comes along with that is that when you're going for like a product that's human breast milk based, as we do, it's naturally allergenic free, allergy free. So you don't take the risk. And that's, I just want to highlight this point, right? Carter is indicating this, right? We're getting the human breast milk components made to be the structure of what we do. So in the end of the day, the product is 200% allergy free. So you don't need to take this risk of 1 out of 5 that your baby will be sick. That's one of the major stuff. The second one, because the kind of ingredients we have, they have not only the nutritional piece, but also bioactivities that comes along with these proteins and components. Because, Mother Nature is quite, smart in this. So these proteins and components play not only a structural piece and not only a nutritional piece as a source of nutrients, but also comes with like different kind of activities, immunological activities, antimicrobial activities. There's lots of stuff that comes together with that. So if you're missing this out on like a regular cow's milk product, we're trying to, bring these things. And the approach we have, Andrew, and you like this, is sort of rebuilding breast milk line upon line. Check what is the major components, what are the most important ones. We start with those, and line upon line, we kind of build breast milk to get as close as we can to the actual product. And it's interesting because sometimes we got the question, say, listen, okay, if you can get like 64, 65% bioidentical, what's the other piece, right? It's pretty much plant-based. In Harmony, the 60, what is not the 64, 65% is pretty much like plant-based fats, and why we can, use like plant-based fat components to mimic the fatty acid composition.
Got it. Okay, so I on the one hand, I really want to know how you do it, right? But in a sense, what I don't really want to do is have people focusing in on, do they agree or do they not agree on creating foods using these kinds of technologies, which is often part of the discussion. I think it's really important that we recognize that the current approach in the millions of feedings is a product which is a small percentage of what is a small percentage of what a traditional mother feeding their child is giving the baby, and Harmony Baby is just dramatically closer to that gold standard. Anyway, people are gonna shout at me if I don't ask, how do you guys do what you do, and how long until Harmony Baby is available if a mother needs to give their baby a non-human breast milk, and it's the wrong way of putting it because yours is human breast milk based. How long until your product's available to use if a mother decides that she wants to go in that direction for whatever reason?
We frame that in about 2 years. To the stage we are right now, go through the regulatory approval program, about 2 years to really have the first babies consuming products like Harmony, with Harmony's technology. That's what we're doing for that. The technology indicated before, it's fermentation technology, precision fermentation, you name it. We have this, special microbes, special microflora, the way that people call it now. But we grow those microbes in bioreactors, right? It's like brewing a beer. And then we can harvest these proteins out and purify these proteins, have a product. And we use these proteins, these pure proteins and components, HMOs and sugars as the core, as the structure of the product we have, as we're saying here. And the interesting piece, especially on Harmony, and you say there is like a consumer perception of this, right? What? What kind of, crazy technology you guys using here to, produce formulas and things? First thing is that the technology is not really that new. It's the same technology we're using to produce hundreds and maybe thousands, more than 30 years of these technologies out there. Another thing that's interesting, Andrew, on the consumer perception, if you don't mind, I build on that. There is this thing saying, listen, baby nutrition is a bit tricky, and please don't get me wrong on that. When we're talking about babies, you're pretty much dealing with someone else's precious. That's it, period. So there is no joke, man. Baby nutrition is no joke. And don't get me wrong, but when we're talking about baby food, it's not like putting together a plant-based burger and saying, listen, try this and try that and see what you prefer. What's the texture? That doesn't really apply for baby nutrition at all. So we don't try things on babies. We don't. So the way we address that is a totally different thing. It's about safety. It's about long-term safety data, clinical trials. That's a very different approach because no one is willing to try things on their kids. No one we're gonna do it. The only way we know about Harmony, because we're dealing with baby nutrition for for quite a long time, and we do have a very solid experience, especially with medical nutrition. So put yourself in the shoes of a parent with a baby with cow's milk allergies. This baby got rashes all over, can't stop crying, you are not sleeping, you go nuts. And then you need a professional, like a medical doctor and pediatrician that comes to you and say, listen, this is the product for your baby. It's made like insulin. It's made like thousands of drugs. This is going to solve the issue that you have. And that's a way you can really have, the first babies, using this kind of product. For if you do have a healthy baby, maybe you can have some, oh man, I don't know, it sounds like amazing, but it's new. I'd rather go for cows because, I grew up on regular formulas. Maybe my baby is going to be fine as well. I do understand that. But when you go down to this kind of, babies with, allergies, and that's like a massive number, as I told you, the game is totally different. And more than this, it's a real deal. Those babies and families, they're going through hell. I can tell you, like in a personal level, it's really hard. You're not sleeping. Your baby's just crying all day long. It's so talking about a nice, cool technology. We're talking about a very serious healthy issue. A very serious one. 24 million form allergic babies is a quite big number.
Do you see your first product or set of products being prescribed by doctors in those kind of challenging situations where a baby is reacting negatively to formulas and so on? You don't
definitely.
You don't see
that's one major value proposition we have.
I was going to say, you don't see it being in a carton on a shelf in Target or Walmart or one of those places anytime in the next few years.
Yeah, so to hit like Target, like the major massive, retailers, we need more time. But usually, on the space, going through the medical channels starts. That's the way you build that you show off the science that you're doing serious. The studies just to have a very robust and strong enough, the clinical trials that you have. So when the scientific community check it out and see that's legit and start getting traction on that one, getting healthy babies, and then you start moving to the big crowd. We always keep in mind, Angel, Harmony's products, right? It's for every baby that needs it. If you can't breastfeed, you should go for human breast milk based sort of like products. It's not only for allergic babies, but to start, usually you go for like the very technical, scientific, science based, and then you move to the big crowd. That's usually the more rational pathway.
Understood. So I'd like to, if possible, sort of move now over to how you started the company and what you mentioned in the beginning, that this was a very personal passion for you. You've been involved in this category for quite some time. Was there a particular thing or a particular moment where you sort of had this aha, moment and said, okay, this needs to be solved. This is something that needs to be fixed. And if nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to do it.
All right. I'm going to tell you if you promise that we're not going to be crying. All right.
Okay.
All right. So
let me just okay. Go on.
You can just hold yourself, right?
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting thing, because as I told you, I built myself professionally working with like human nutrition, baby nutrition, like different kind of formulas and things. And I came down to Boston, and I was at MIT on the MBA program actually. At this place we are in here now, Lab Central, I was doing internship in a biotech company here. And I was honestly, I would say, listen, I'm gonna do a career change. I'm doing this for quite a long time. Now I'm around here. I know myself as a professional. Let's find I don't know, maybe a large biotech company here that I can work for. But I did cross path with this guy that's our CSO on a conversation about background and baby formulas and things. How outdated is this industry? And this of using this fermentation sort of technology to produce the components from breast milk. And I was kind of chit-chatting with the CEO of the company that I was doing the internship for, and she goes like, hey, you know what? I know someone that can really clear the assumption for you. That's our current CSO. And says, listen, he's a is a very senior guy in the biotech space. He came from Genetics Institute from Harvard, like when they were trying to figure out what they do with genes. But he's the one that's going to clear the assumption for you. And Neil was the first one that told me, say, Del, listen, I'm doing this for over 35 years. We thought about this before when we were at the Genetics Institute and Biogen, Genentech, and try to figure what do we do with this DNA technologies. And I do believe the technology is way more mature, and we can do it. And I think we can really have this in a very it's mature enough to kind of move from pharmaceuticals to the food space. And on top of this, Andrew, I was living in Boston, right? And then my wife got pregnant, and we have the second baby Anna, that was born on the winter time. And when that happened, that was right after this thing, MIT and stuff. She got like postpartum depression, was not able to breastfeed. Baby was not thriving, and it was like a crazy times for us on a personal level. We introduced formulas, and as soon as we introduced the formula, that Anna, that's the baby's name, got lots of reactions, and the whole thing was just kind of moving down very quickly. And then the pediatrician came to me to say, listen, your babies are cosmic allergic babies. Now we're going to talk about formulas. And I was, what? Oh boy, now I see it. So it was a combination of like momentum and timing, and this kind of very senior guy to come to say, listen, I think that's a technically possible kind of thing. And this thing that in a personal level, say, listen, I saw this so many times in a professional life. Now I'm facing this in a personal level. It means a lot to me. So that was the moment that kind of triggered, say, listen, we got to do it, and that's the time for it. And I think we have like a combination of like factors that really build this momentum to make this happen. And you see there's lots of like really nice stuff that's going on in the science, on the team, and by the way, this formula, shortage and crisis that you see around here really enforce how important and how timely is the situation we have at this point.
And so you sat down with the man who had worked on it for 35 years and said, hey, I'm going to go start a company, come join me? Or what was the kind of next thing that happened?
Yeah, it was like a dating process, right? If you're approaching a senior researcher like that, he was a former, the former head of regulatory of Biogen, who spearheaded Pfizer. It was a very senior guy. It was sort of like, he was pretty much advising Harmony on this process. And the whole thing was getting serious. We, winning competitions here, getting a little bit of money over there. And he was getting involved until in the point to say, Del, I'm joining you. Now I feel that it's time. I feel that's serious. I feel that there's lots of components in here. I'm fully in. Yeah, but it doesn't happen like with a snap on the finger, right? Took some time for it to put together a strong team. So beyond technology, Andrew, I think we have a very, very solid team of researchers, experts in regulatory. Quite amazing. We have a stellar team internally, very senior folks in both areas, especially regulatory and science. That helps a lot. You need like very, very solid scientists internally to kind of really move the needle in this direction that we head into. Yeah.
Do you think that Harmony Baby, you said it's going to be about 2 years until the product's available. Is that driven by the science or the regulatory environment that you're a part of?
It's both. It's definitely both. You should have a solid data package for that. Of course, any regulatory agency is not playing with that. It's a serious stuff. So you must have a consistent, solid data package, but you also got to know the regulatory behind it. So our regulatory person is the former head of regulatory for Nestle, so someone that knows quite well how to navigate in the regulatory space. And usually, science goes faster than regulatory for obvious reasons, right? But we're very surprised with some like willingness to kind of work that we see from regulatory agencies like FDA, including last year, they put together full 2 years of workshop just to discuss new proteins, new ways to produce ingredients, especially proteins for human applications and baby nutrition applications. That shows, for the experts in the industry, that really shows the willingness to kind of understand and work for the regulatory bodies that we have in the US and around the world.
Okay, I understand. So I think I know you have a hard stop soon, so I'm going to slowly wind us down. But where do you see, if everything goes to plan, and I know that you don't necessarily have a plan, and plans have a really great way of not necessarily working out because real life gets in the way, but where do you see Harmony Baby being in, let's say, 5 years if it goes the way you want it to go?
In 5 years, right? In a short term, Harmony.
In 5 years time. So let's assume for the moment
baby nutrition, 5 years is a short run.
It absolutely is. But you mentioned that the product would be available in 2 years. So I just wondered what would be 5 years. If you'd rather say in 10 years, that's good too.
Yeah, in 5 years, the vision we have, in 5 years, Harmony is going to be the top of mind product for cow's milk allergic babies, period. If you got an allergic baby, there is no reason why you're going to try anything else. You go for Harmony, period.
Global?
Sorry?
Global?
Global. It's interesting because we work on a small, startup company, but with a very global approach. So we have a lab in here in Cambridge, in the Boston area. We have a secondary lab in Hong Kong with a decent amount of incentives and grants and researchers over there. We're thinking quite bad about Singapore, as you know, as you also, have some roots on that for obvious reasons, right, about these countries and what they're doing on the food space as well. But we definitely have a very global approach, Andrew. I think there is, if you think about baby nutrition, a big picture, it's a massive need all over the world. You pretty much got 4 to 5 players running this. That's it. So there's lots of room for kind of improvement, especially on this area that I'm saying that we quite strong when it comes to a product that's very close to breast milk that really address the major problems we have in standard of care. The standard of care for a cow's milk allergic baby is just like terrible. I don't know if you remember about how does breast milk taste, but if you get like Harmony's formula, Harmony's products, you compare that with a hypoallergenic formula for allergic babies, it's mind-blowing. It smells really bad, and Harmony really tastes close to. I don't know if you remember breast milk, taste. Maybe there was a long time ago, right? But it's Harmony is very close to it when it comes like the visuals, like the taste and things. Of course, because we're using the real components for that. So in 5 years, coming back to your question, Harmony will be the top of mind for that particular space. That's for sure.
That's incredible. You're going to have to go through the regulatory environment of multiple. Well, I don't know how it works. If you get approved in the United States, I would have thought that would have expedited. There would be some expediting process for other regions, no? For other countries.
It really depends on the country. Of course, FDA is a major flag, and that's, of course, obvious reasons. We U.S. based. We have like most of the people we have in here is kind of experts in regulatory on the U.S. FDA approval, and also in FDA you also have sort of like a clear framework how to get a new ingredient, the pathway you go to get it approved. And yes, but it depends on the country. They just sort of like peek back what you got on FDA. But some countries like Europe actually does have a more stringent regulatory program, especially for baby nutrition. So it really depends where you're going.
And from a price point perspective, over the next 5 years or so, it'll be brought down to a point where it's kind of accessible.
Oh yeah. We can really have, with the current stage of the technology, we can have a product and a price point that's the same price point you have for this hypoallergenic forms we're discussing. Now, a formula for allergic baby would cost about $45 a canister. We can definitely get on that in a very wealthy, and healthy sort of like business operation. in the same price, sort of like in the same price point that we have. It's interesting, Andrew, because a demand for this, this product is quite high. You see, even now, people come into Harmony's website and try to order this kind of product, so we avoid saying this, but baby nutrition is ready for disruption. It really is. It's old, it's outdated, few players, very expensive products, all kind of reasons for that. Baby nutrition is ready for disruption, and I think the way we position this, with the way we're doing science, the way we building a clear and simple go-to-market pathway, you're going to see a major transformation. Not only Harmony, but other companies in the same space. It's interesting because you're probably seeing like hundreds, even thousands of companies doing like alternative proteins and cell-based things, but there is very few companies doing like baby nutrition, seriously doing baby nutrition based on science, because it's hard. It's hard. Sometimes people get scared. Baby nutrition is not, once again, it's no joke, but it's so much needed. It's so much needed.
To add on to that, the industry isn't ready for disruption just because science has advanced, like in the precision fermentation and recombinant protein science has advanced faster than the industry has advanced. It's not ready for disruption just because of that. It's ready because the parents are really demanding better. The parents are demanding better than the standard cow's milk formulas that we see. They're demanding better than the hypoallergenic formulas that you have to make sacrifices in terms of taste and nutrition. Like, they're ready for better. And that's what Harmony is trying to deliver at the end of the day, is we're trying to deliver a new standard of care. Like, we're trying to deliver support and care for these parents. Just because we can advance the technology, like, great. That's not what we're in it for. We're in it to deliver parents the best things, like the best support that we possibly can. And technology is just a means to that end. Like you said earlier, Andrew, when we first started talking about the science, you mentioned, like, I don't know if parents will actually care, like, how you make the thing. It's just like what they're giving to their baby at the end of the day. And that's 100% true. Like, it doesn't matter how you make it. If it's 100% safe and 100% healthy, then you're going to want to give the best option possible to your kid, regardless of how it's created, regardless of the science that comes behind it, So that's Harmony's, like, even though we're built on technology, that's Harmony's end goal, is deliver the best care. We don't care what the technology is. It just so happens that the technology we're using is the way to really step up the care, step up the support that we can provide parents right now.
So I think that's Carter hasn't said much today, but he kind of almost has the most important word right at the end.
You see, that's why. Yeah.
So I've got one last thing to say. If the folks who are listening today, it could be investors, it could be potential employees, it could be scientists who are really excited about what you're doing. Maybe it's even regulatory people who are starting to kind of take a look at what you guys are doing or the category you're doing it in. If someone's listening, what kind of help would you ask for, or would you like from anyone who's listening as far as Harmony Baby is concerned?
I think the first thing I'll say, Angel, go to harmonybabynutrition.com.
Okay.
We have a regular newsletters. We have a contact information there. Sign up for this. Get in touch with us. Once again, baby nutrition is in the long run kind of thing. It really is. So we have lots of demands on the science piece, on the regulatory piece, on the communication side of things. I want to really reinforce what Carter is saying. We're doing baby nutrition for quite a long time to understand that the technology matters at the stage we are. But very shortly, that's not a point. For the parent standpoint, for the baby standpoint, it's not about technology at all. It's about something that's safe, that's like close to breast milk, that's something gonna really feed the baby with the best thing that exists in the world. That's all about. So whatever thing that you believe along this journey that you're gonna be passionate for, that you understand, that you kind of really get your mind, get your heart on this, because you feel this. We have this passion with that. We're working so hard, really so hard to get these things to happen. That everyone that's aligned with this journey and this mission and these values that we have, just come to harmonybabynutrition.com, sign up for like the newsletters we have, get in touch with us over there. We always talking with people and bringing people along. There is more needs. We hire more people now, even like technical folks, communication folks. So it's a good timing for this. It's a good timing for that.
Amazing. Any last things to say before we ring off for today?
All right, a romantic thing, right? We used to say that if technologies like Harmony's already exist in the market now, this thing that we have as a crisis will not really exist in the way we see it. There is a major impact on that. One of the major triggers for this crisis that we're seeing here, for infant formula crisis, was triggered not only by supply chain, was triggered for panicking of moms with these allergic babies, really going after formulas and buying formulas for $200 a canister on eBay, because they were going crazy, because they have no options, because the options they have, went out of the market because of this recall. So just think about it. That's a very serious stuff. That's a very serious stuff. And in the end of the day, it's not about babies. It's really about, there's not about technology. It's really about babies and struggling people.
So basically, when we've been having supply chains around the world over the last couple of years, those formulas that were special for mothers who had babies with allergic reactions to cow's milk, those particular products they were hit hard, difficult to get, if not impossible.
It's really hard to switch for another product. If you do have a healthy baby in a formula, you want to switch to something, that's okay. But if you have a baby under a treatment with a hypoallergenic formula and that product just disappear, that is craziness. That was the major trigger for this crisis. And the doctor from Harvard, that's our advisor, was calling and said, listen, moms are just like blowing the lines we have in here. They don't know what to do. So it's a serious, very serious thing. Yeah.
So let's go along to harmonybabynutrition.com, get involved, help you out, and let's try and see if we can do something about getting your product to market as soon as possible and as soon as it's safe to do so. Amazing.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for the opportunity, for the Big Idea Ventures. We got, big fans of you guys. Thank you for all the support you have. We're getting from you. It's amazing.
Wendell, thank you so much. Carter, thank you so much. Yep. You've been great. I'm going to ring off. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
You too. Have a good one.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming along to our conversation today. Great conversation. Had a few challenges with audio, just a couple of spots here and there. Thankfully, I think we were able to summarize the few gaps that there were. So I think we were able to cover at least 99.5% of everything Wendell wanted to say, needed to say about Harmony Baby. Really interesting company. If you have any questions, please do reach out to Harmony Baby at harmonybabynutrition.com. If you have any questions about Big Idea Ventures and my company, i.e. we focus on working with the world's best entrepreneurs, scientists, and engineers to solve the biggest challenges we have. So reach out to me if you need any help, if I can do anything for you, if you have any comments about today's podcast, bigideaventures.com. That's it. Thanks for coming along, and look forward to having you listen to our podcast next week. Thanks.